Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and today, not Road to Battlefront 2 today, I want to talk about Battlefront 2 and the gameplay reveal, which we now know is going to be on June the 10th at EA Play. So there's a lot of questions that people are asking: what are we going to see, what can we expect to see, what we're not going to see, etc, etc, etc. And I thought, why not? I'm gonna chime, that's a weird way to say it. I'm going to chime in my 2 cents about it. So what do I think there's going to be? Well, for starters, I think there's the one or the 2 things I should say that they'll probably concentrate on, and it's something that was lacking in the first Battlefront game, and that is the single player and the depth. So I think that they're going to be given the priority at EA Play and E3 as well, so we're going to see more of that sort of thing as opposed to sort of the other things that we'd be looking at, like the specifics of maybe maps and weapons and things like that. I think they're going to go for a broader kind of, I say broader, they're going to go into detail on these 2 things as opposed to going into details about lots of little things. So with the single player, what can we expect to see? Well, we're going to get a mission, I think. They're going to show us a mission. I don't think it'll be the opening mission, and obviously it's not going to be anything that's too further along in the plot because they don't want to give anything away. But what I reckon is they'll have probably the first like dramatic mission of the game, and then they'll use that to not only show the gameplay mechanics but also the cinematic scope of the story itself. They want to show the gameplay, yes, but they also want to sort of demonstrate just how grand and Star Wars, really, how Star Wars it's going to be. By that I mean epic. I should have just said epic, really. So moving on. So early dramatic scene. What we're going to see in terms of the gameplay story aside, I think they're going to show the droid. I think there's a lot of emphasis on the droid itself. Well, I say emphasis, there was a lot of interest, shall we say, and they spoke about it at Star Wars Celebration, the different things the droid's going to be able to do, how you can upgrade it and use it and stuff like this, and I think that will be something that we'll see more of. Also, could we be seeing sort of more of a squad-based sort of kind of gameplay mechanic? So I think they say that the main you're going to be playing as Iden Versio, something like that. You're going to be playing, that's the protagonist, but I get the impression that they'll be switching between different members of this squad, so you get like a broader kind of picture like of the squad itself. So could that possibly lead to squad-based gameplay? Be interesting to see if you've got several members of the squad in one section of the map and then several in other sections, all sort of working on these multiple objectives to try and like complete the mission, and then you sort of switch between the different characters. I think that could be quite an interesting way to do it, and so you're seeing things from different fronts, different battlefronts. Oh, such a crap. Yeah, okay. Also, there was some leaked gameplay footage. I mean, I imagine everyone has probably seen it. It's literally about 10 seconds, and it's of I assume Iden Versio. I can't remember her name. That's really bad. Iden. I'll just call it Iden. There was leaked footage of presumably Iden opening up a doorway, going through a corridor whilst fighting off rebel soldiers. Potentially faked. Who knows? But interesting to note, they had like the little where you're in the original Battlefront, where your star cards and your abilities used to be in the bottom right hand corner. And if it is legit, they've sort of reworked the look of it, and I imagine it will play probably the same. But will there still be a refresh time, much like in the first Battlefront? If you use an ability, will there be a refresh time, and will you have to like wait until you can use it again, or is it something that's just going to be you can use it all the time? So again, I think that's something that we will get a look at. So yeah, we're probably going to see more of the droid. Be interesting to see how you interact with other members of the squad and things like abilities, and obviously the cinematic scope. I think that's something that they're very keen to embrace in this game, obviously, because there was a lack of single player and any kind of campaign in the first one, so I think they'll definitely be wanting to illustrate that a lot more. Now we move on to the depth, which I think they'll probably show more of this in the multiplayer, and we're looking at sort of things like classes and how they work together, and how is this going to be like an emphasis on team play. So you'll have infantry obviously just going and shooting things, and you've got the specialists who I imagine would sort of go in, sneak in maybe, and plant like explosives on certain sort of things like turrets, or maybe there are objectives to blow things up, much like sabotage, but maybe they'll be sort of dotted around the map a bit more, so it'll be a bit more open. Obviously you've got your officer, which I would imagine would act in the way that some heroes, and I think Krennic in the original Battlefront had this sort of ability where you could give you could boost like your teammates' morale, and I imagine that's what the officer class is gonna be like. And then obviously you've got your sniper, who's going to be way back, just picking people off, and it's going to be interesting how that all comes together. And I think that is good, because the problem with the first Battlefront is that it was, even though you're on a team, it was literally every man for himself, or every person for themselves, unless you were all working towards the objective. But if it was team deathmatch, it was literally just you look out for yourself basically, and the only real reason why people healed you is because they got a healing bonus. So I think it's going to be important that they emphasise the team play aspect of it. And then obviously you've got the customization, which is going to be crucial, because obviously there was pretty much none of that other than changing like your character's skin and using things like abilities, like the different cards and stuff, and that was fairly flexible. There wasn't a class system as such, but you were able to obviously configure your character to how you wanted to play, but there was nothing further than that, which is something I think that they're definitely going to they're definitely building on that. Well, they've said as much. So it'll be interesting to see how flexible that is. So like if you're concentrating on a sniper, for instance, are your upgrades all going to be sort of sniper based? Like you get like a higher range, you can upgrade your weapons, that you've got like a scope, so you, like a better scope, so you can cover more distance, camouflage and things like that, so you can stay hidden. All these different things. Will it be like confined to the class that you've selected, or will it be a bit more flexible? You can have bits of infantry, bits of specialist, bits of officer, different things. So you could have a sniper, for instance, who had high leadership. I don't know why it'd be a sniper with high leadership, because they generally tend to stay in the background, but maybe an infantry soldier who has like a higher leadership, so then they can sort of rally people to them if the officer is not doing a very good job. I think that would be wise to go in that direction, considering how they've already said that they want everyone's player or to be essentially a character, a unique character, and I think it would be wise to do that, so you can choose things that aren't just like confined to the different classes, so you can have a mix of everything, but obviously the emphasis would be on the class you've chosen. So for instance, if you are a officer, the emphasis would be on leadership as opposed to sniping or blowing stuff up or things like that. So that would be the way to help create these unique characters, so that every player is doing something different and it's unique to every single player, and I think that is extremely important. So those are the two main things that I think there'll be a lot of EA Play in E3. Also, the other big thing that people are very interested in is the different eras. Now, we already know that we're going to get the prequel, the classic, and the new era, the latest era. So how much of that are they going to show in June? And I think, well, from what I've gathered, I've heard that the gameplay reveal will take place on Theed, so it's very possible that it will be a prequel. They'll show off a lot of the prequel stuff, like a lot of the Clone Wars stuff, but I would imagine they'd probably show a lot of stuff. They'd probably show more of the prequel and of the new era, because obviously we had a lot of the original trilogy in the original Battlefront. Obviously it's the best of the trilogies, so, well, we don't know yet, haven't seen the other two films in the latest trilogy, so don't know, but generally the original trilogy is regarded as the best, so I would imagine there'd be less emphasis on that and probably more on the prequel and the latest era, just because we haven't seen all that much of it, but obviously they will cater to the original trilogy. We may, and I'm hoping, but we may get a tease of Cross Era. I know they have mentioned it, but they're being very sort of secretive about what you can and can't do when it comes to Cross Era things. But I think they might have a little sneak preview, but not giving anything like too much away. Could we see the heroes and villains battle from the original Battlefront 2, where it was literally just all the heroes, all the villains, all in together, all just fighting each other? And I think that was a lot better than the heroes and villains we got in the last Battlefront game. So hopefully, my fingers crossed, that's going to be something that will be included in the game. And that obviously begs the question: what heroes and villains are going to be in the game? I think we will see. Hopefully, we'll see some confirmation of who's in and who's not in. There's been a lot of talk of Obi-Wan Kenobi and whether Ewan McGregor is going to voice him. I don't necessarily think that he will. It would be great if he did, but I don't know. I don't. I think they'll probably go with someone else, because obviously Ewan McGregor is a busy professional actor doing all sorts of things. Is he going to have the time to step in and do voiceover work for the game? We don't know. If he, I mean, I imagine he'd be up for it. But it all depends on everyone's schedule, and obviously what the money is going to be like, and all that. So I don't necessarily think that Ewan McGregor will appear in the game, but I wouldn't rule it out. But I think they'll probably go with a professional voiceover actor. Who knows? That makes it sound like Ewan McGregor would be a shit voiceover actor. No, he wouldn't be. He'd be a very good voiceover actor. He's a good actor, isn't he? So why am I? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, yeah. I love Ewan McGregor, so yeah, bring Ewan McGregor back. Fuck it. But yeah, so these are some of the things that I reckon will and potentially will not be in the reveal at EA Play and E3. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If there's anything that you think will or won't be mentioned or added or talked about. But yeah, so we've got a couple of weeks to go. But it's very exciting times. I'm very much looking forward to what they have planned. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. That'd be lovely. Thank you very much. And I'll see you in the next one.